friends and neighbors had chosen me. And I thought, whoa, great. So I went to serve, and a little major in the Army informed me that if I wouldn't go to OCS, I was cannon fodder. Just go out there, we're going to put you in the infantry. So I got to go on a little vacation in Southeast Asia. No one told us there'd be repercussions for serving in the infantry. We thought it was some kind of Boy Scout trip. And what does this have to do with communion? Well, you need to hang on, because I'm getting there. I got ulcerative colitis when I came back, but I didn't really. It was stress. I was just pounded and pulled and stressed totally. And I was bleeding. So they gave me medicine. I got diabetes from being overdosed. It just gets better as it goes along. I did a lot of manual labor after I got out of the Army, because there wasn't any jobs. There were 500 guys a year getting out. And what does that have to do with communion? I'm getting there. One day, I got a great job at the elementary school. And it was all going well for a couple of years. And then one day in the classroom, I had a flashback. Wow. I was standing in an orphanage with dead kids from a real thing. And this is where we're getting to the communion. I resigned in fear of doing something to children. No one knows a lot of these things about me. Some of you know some things. We're going to get what this has to do about communion. I went to the church for help. They said, you'll be all right. You know who offered to help me? Vernon Miller. Thank you. When the problem of PTSD comes out, you're mental, and no one wants to be around you. You changed, they changed, everyone became ghosts. It was a spiritual problem, and the world and church were not prepared to handle it. There's one person who can handle spiritual problems, and we're going to get to this communion. I went to the world, and I forgot God. The shrinks got a hold of me, and they opened a can of worms and turned me loose. And then they decided I needed a pill to sleep, a pill to wake up, one for my brain, one for my startle response, and one for this, and one for that. Pretty soon I was on 8 of them. No one knew how to fix this. I was so depressed, I was sitting in my house, cocking the gun. It was going to be over. That's why this is real to me. And I was crying and weeping and saying, oh God, God. And he showed up. And he said, get off the drugs. And I did. There were so many, it took 3 years. But I'll tell you what, when I take this communion, on the front of that table, it says, do this in remembrance of me. I remember. This is about a lifesaver. I don't care what you're dealing with. You cannot live in the past like I was. You can't do it. That's the worst addiction on the planet, and I know it. I was there. Paul said, forgetting those things which are behind and going on toward the prize of the higher calling. When you take this communion, you need to remember this guy gave you your salvation and your freedom. He can erase it all and fix anything wrong with you. Do not make this a ritual. Understand you are participating with the Lord